You're this perp back with another video, and The Bear is back for season 3. I just got done watching all 10 episodes. Shout out Hulu for dropping it way earlier than 12 o'clock, and they dropped it like 9 o'clock, but I was like really exhausted yesterday, so I finally got around to just checking out all 10 episodes, man, and they have done it again. You know, they swept the Emmys pretty much like this recent award show, and I think they're going to do it again. I'm just blown away on how great of a show this is, because it's cool to have shows about dragons, you know what I'm saying, political stuff. Um, it's really frustrating to see people argue over the stupidest things when it comes to Star Wars, or we always are complaining about set photos of movies that we haven't even watched yet. And it's just so refreshing to get a show like The Bear that is just grounded in realism. You don't have to worry about like an over budgeted show that looks like crap, or have to worry about the volume. All that shit goes out the window when we're talking about The Bear. The Bear is such a unique show. And on top of that, I love food, and who doesn't love food? But it's a lot deeper than that. This is a very compelling human story, and those will always be the best types of stories. And I love how this picks up where season 2 left off, where we have a lot of things to pretty much address. But my thought of this whole entire series, or just the season in general, if I had to explain it or define it in one word, I would say is growth. A lot of characters have shown growth from the first season to second season to now this. Like from Carmy still having to deal with stuff, of course. Like, none of these characters are perfect, they're all flawed, but you definitely see how much they have improved and how much that they still need to improve in a lot of different angles. And the whole family angle is really dope. The family dynamic with all these different characters, whether it be like Sydney and her father, or Carmy and his mother, or any of the other siblings like Sugar and her mom, or just that whole family just still dealing with the traumatic things that happened with Mike. It's fascinating, man. So where do I even begin with this season? I'll just go, I guess, character by character and kind of go from there. I want to really talk about, this first episode before we get into everything. I feel like that was one of the best episodes of the series. It's emotional. It's a gut wrenching episode because it shows you exactly where everybody was at when Mikey passed. And then we get into some more things as far as what are our characters going to do now. You have Carmy having to deal with the shit he said with Claire. He doesn't really know how to go about saying sorry, even though it seems simple, but there's a lot more to it, on top of dealing with running the restaurant, because that's always been an ongoing thing that's been really weighing on Carmy's character since season 1, having to keep this business afloat just for his brother's sake, and wanting to do different innovative things, even going through the process of cutting out cigarettes completely. Now, I don't know how I can't relate to that, but that goes to show you that he's making the necessary steps. Like, it's baby steps to get where he wants to get to in life. And eventually he'll make things right with certain people. Like, the two people that he has to make things right with is his mom and Claire. So that's definitely going to be something going into season 4, since that has been renewed for a new season. I cannot wait. Sydney, I definitely think damn near is the MVP of this season. The more I think about it, she's dealing with a lot as well. Um, just this whole idea of being a partner, and they teased this when she had the conversation with her father, and her father kind of put that in her head, not to kind of scare her, but like just let her know, like, this is the realization of running these restaurants, especially when you're doing things like changing up the menu every day. um it's just bleeding money. We get a lot of like behind the scenes stuff with like the financials. It's not really looking good. But yeah, like, all of this stuff is weighing on everybody, even Richie. I love what they do with Richie's character, where in season 2 he was looking for a purpose. He found his purpose, but there's still some things that are missing, and I really liked seeing him be a father, and him having to deal with the person that he fell in love with, the person that is the mother of his child, is moving on with somebody else. Frank, which I forget the actor's name off the top of my head. It was driving me crazy, but I really enjoyed that. A lot of callbacks to the Fork episode, you know what I'm saying? And Richie has definitely come a long way, you know what I'm saying? But going back to Carmy, he is dealing with the business thing, the business side of running the Bear, and not really realizing that it's getting worse before it gets better. And I love the example that they give in the episode Legacy. I think it was Legacy that they, or it might have been before that, but Terry, Chef Terry, the one, Olivia Colman's character that we saw in the previous season, she is a very well-known chef around the city and whatnot, very well respected, and her establishment gets shut down, and this completely freaks out Carmy. And he just feels like, at any moment that could be me, and I don't want that to be me. But yeah, that was dope, but I also, just going back to Sydney as well, I love Ayo's performance in this, and she makes her directorial debut with the Tina episode, which I really love that, and how Tina became a part of the Bear, and her whole conversation with Mikey, that was so touching. It was beautiful, because anytime we get Jon Bernthal in a scene, we really get to see more of what made his character do what he did. And they keep teasing Carmy's father, or they keep mentioning it, and I always thought it would be really dope if William H. Macy would return to play the father, because just the way that they describe him as this kind of just deadbeat, it's screaming Frank Gallagher. You know what I'm saying? I think that would be such a cool little Easter egg. But like I said, going back to just the overall story and what all these characters are going through is fascinating to me, and they even give a lot of the other side characters that kind of gotten sidelined over the previous seasons more to do. I also like how they handle Marcus's character. They don't give him much, because I understand what they're trying to go for. Him dealing with the death of his mother, and Sydney kind of helping him through that, because she can relate with her losing her mother, but at a younger age. I really like that. And him getting motivated from just everything, him wanting to just make his mother proud and just make something that kind of stands out. His entire arc has been really fucking dope. But let's talk about some of my favorite episodes. Like, I'm kind of going all over the place, but I really like the Tina episode Napkins, and I really like Ice Chips, where it's Jamie Lee Curtis and Sugar, because Sugar is pregnant, you know what I'm saying? She's about to pop. And I love that they gave her a whole episode to kind of do her thing. That whole episode where her and Donna just having this mother-daughter moment while she's about to give birth. Donna pretty much letting her know how it was giving birth to just not only Mikey, her, and Carmy. And just, it was really refreshing to see Jamie Lee Curtis in this role, because I feel like this is probably her best role, you know, her most emotional. I've never seen Jamie Lee Curtis really tap into the shit that she taps into, what you see in this episode. And like I said, it's about growth, and she sees the flaws in herself. And I love how Sugar kind of doubts herself as a mom, and she doesn't want all this burden to go onto her child and it be this cycle. And it's really about growth and legacy with all these different characters. It's just like, if this doesn't work out, where are you going to go? Or are you going to be okay if this same thing happens to you? You know, so by the end of this, you have Sydney having to deal with whether or not she wants to stay at the Bear or take up this new position and leave all that behind, everything that she's kind of built up. Great benefits, but, you know, it's like she's really conflicted. And I love that throughout this whole entire series, Sydney has done a pretty good job of keeping her composure. Like, she's snapped out a couple times, but like, it's all kind of built up, and you see her just break down at the end of it. It was really fucking sad. And now things are going to get really weird for Carmy, because everything was reliant on this whole entire review. Now things might start to shift, and I definitely think we're in the later half or the end game of this series. Also, what was dope, I don't know all the special cameos that were in here, if there were any bigger one. The biggest one was John Cena being the eldest Fax brother. That was fucking hilarious, and I can't wait to see more of his character. And I really love how they keep that under wraps, like as far as who's the special guest and whatnot, that's not leaked out here, you know what I'm saying? It was a surprise to see Jamie Lee Curtis and like Bob Odenkirk and like Sarah Paulson pop up, all these big huge names. Fucking Robert Townsend, man. Robert Townsend and Ayo have like the greatest chemistry. Like, you really believe that they are father and daughter, you know what I'm saying? And I just love how all these stories interconnect, how all these characters have different moments. Like, I never expected, you know, Uncle Jimmy to have a whole conversation with Sydney, or, you know, just certain characters will just interact with each other, like Marcus and Tina and stuff, kind of doing their own kind of thing. And, you know, even Ibram, you know, him finding his kind of place in all of this, you know, where he was kind of on the fence about things in the previous season. So, like I said, there's a lot of growth, but there's a lot of room for improvement with a lot of these different characters. And I'm curious to see how they're going to go forward in season 4, because there's a lot of things to deal with. Like, Carmy has to make things right with Claire, which I definitely think that there's a possibility. Sydney and her decision, like, is, because I feel like they are going to have a fallout, because it just seems like in this season in particular that Sydney is kind of like fed up, and maybe she's starting to think about, back in season 2, the conversation with her father. He was right. Maybe I should try to get a better situation, because this is not going to last forever. Nothing ever lasts forever. And that's why every second matters. I love that phrase. Every second matters, because you never know. You never know what direction life is going to take you. This is just a fantastic series, man, and it's definitely going to go down as one of the best. They're definitely going to clean up at the awards, but I want to know your thoughts of this season as a whole. Is this your favorite? Do you prefer season 2 more? Let me know your thoughts. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.